Hello, Tony. You're on the air.
How are you, Dave? Eddie?
All right, man. How about you?
Oh, good. Yeah, well, before I get to my topic, listen to the lady there, but if you didn't have proof, the first thing they would say, well, they never had no research done, so how do you know if they got no figures or anything to show you, what kind of money they're going to save?
It's a tricky spot.
Yeah, and that's the first thing is coming out. They're even asking now. But how do you know? They got no figures to show you. So how do they know? They have any research done? So people want research. When they get it done, then they complain because they're getting it done. So you can't win for losing. I was listening to the cut back on the dental for low income, and people are saying upset because like the government is cutting out dental and that. They're cutting back to basically the budget that they're trying to get around the budget that they're going to get in the first place, which was $6 million a year. Because it went from $6 million up to $20 million. And it's right now. They never had any of this beforehand. Before this government brought this in, there was no such thing as getting paid for dental. So when people say, "Oh my God, it's the worst thing," what did they do before this came in? At least they're still getting what they said they were going to bring down in the first place. Probably $6 million a year.
Yeah, but they cut it off. The trick here is that if we have people who need dental work and they don't get it because they can't afford it, and then that makes their overall health worse and escalates the cost of health care for that individual, then this is a bad decision. If it's about saving money, fine, but it seems to me a lot of this so-called saving will result in more money out the door, and that is not a savings.
You got the emergency that you got to get your teeth done. Well, as Susan Sullivan said last night on the news, it's available. But I think a lot of us was probably, I don't know what was going on there, because it went awful fast up to $20 million, and when he approved for $6 million. And this government, people saying, well, they never done nothing for the senior citizens. They brought in new drugs. They've had, when the Liberal government was in, I remember they were there, $12,000 a year you make, and they give you back $100 on your oil bill. You're up now at $34,000 to $40,000 a year, and you're still getting anywhere from $200 to $400 a year back. Plus, they cut the taxes on your oil. They cut the taxes on your insurance. You could go on and on. They're losing about $500 million a year, I say, in taxes where they cut it.
Yeah, they're not losing any money. They're putting money in the pockets of people who spend it, and then they go ahead and they trumpet that as economic growth they created.
But they save money in one way, and they're saving money to help people out. Because of the extra taxes that you would have to pay.
But the dental program, I think we are not looking at it through the, I was going to say through the lens, but that's government talk. I'm not doing that. We haven't looked at the dental program based on real legitimate need, and if it does have impact on your overall health. And that's where we should start on this one. This is not about low-income people who just want shiny new dentures. This could and should be viewed as, if we are spending money for all the right reasons to have people healthy without pain, to save us money in health care, that's how we should look at it. And I think we probably did with that enhanced dental program, and so that's where we should probably start the review, not with whether or not government betrayed you, but did we save any money? And I think we probably made a backward step by taking the program away.
Yeah, well, what they could do is have probably better view to to do a research on and see what dental do from your dentures up and work that way, and to see what you really need and who can afford and who can't.
Yeah.
Because right now, if everybody is in low income is just going out and doing it and probably getting charged more for it, I have no idea. But it seems like it's like when they brought it was $6 million budget, and now it's gone up to $20 million. So it's got to stop somewhere. You just got to look into it and see what's going on, probably, and just take it from there. And then hopefully you could take it from there. And then if you need be, you could probably increase it as it needed.
Tony, as a Tory supporter, and you and I have had this chat before, and we talk about the deficit position and government spending. And you very quickly go to, well, boy, they inherited a landscape where there was an infrastructure deficit. There had been no money spent on a variety of things. They had to do it. They had to do this, had to do that. That's something that is hard to argue when we talk about some of the infrastructure failings. But if we have a budget and the budget is spent outside, and it's not just $124 a barrel of fuel, a barrel of oil, because they spent more than $124 too. So where can there be legitimate supporters defense of government spending when they totally outspent their own budgets? It's got nothing to do with it.
Right?
It has nothing to do with it, though, Tony. That's something Paul Lane offered this morning. Look, that's global economy and export commodity stuff. Has nothing to do with forecasting a budget and spending outside of it. And so let's just say oil traded at $124. We still would have been in a deficit because they outspent $124. How can there be a defense from a supporter of the party?
Well, they're not defending they overspent. It was necessary. They had to do it because of the fact that they had to build new schools. And they had to build. They got hundreds of millions of dollars gone into, you got 3 schools going in Paradise.
Yeah, but that's baloney, though, Tony. We're talking about a government that's been there for a long time. And this is not about inheriting a woeful, inadequate infrastructure. This is a long time in office, 10-plus years now. And if they outspent 124, even though we're only traded at like 111, then how can it be justified? And they're having a hard time doing it because, for me, it's defending the indefensible, isn't it?
Well, no, not necessarily, because I like what they're doing. I know what they're spending. I mean, they're putting the money into roads, and they're putting it in buildings, and they're putting it in hospitals, and I mean, they're putting it in the schools, and they're upgrading everything, and they had to build on new ones. They even put a new university. So, I mean, before, there was no such thing. I mean, they wouldn't even put it much. I mean, some of these schools that they closed down, there wasn't need to be if they had to be looked after. I mean, it's just as simple as putting a ventilation system in.
The true economic management is, supposing you need a vent, supposing you need a guardrail. If the money's not in the budget to do it this year, it does not get done. That's how you're fiscally prudent. Not with, oh my God, we have to do this, we have to do that. That's the forecast, the budget piece. That's where you identify the needs, put them in the budget. When they pop up, we all know there's got to be contingency. You might outspend yourself a little bit, but the real prudent fiscal management says, hey, it's not in the budget, I ain't doing it.
Well, Paddy,
that's where the tough answers come. That's where we need real determined politicians, where your number one focus is not just getting reelected, is making sure you're good with the money.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't know where to choice. You say if you single off your house today, you have money, you got to get it when you borrow it. Because if you don't, well, your roof is going to go, and then your house is going to go.
That's contingency money, and that's always available, but that doesn't add up to almost $4 billion over 3 years of forecasted deficit failings, in my estimation. Tony, go ahead and summarize quick before I go on to the break.
Okay, because when the other one was in, when the other government was in there, I mean, every school basically had leaks coming down with buckets on their desk and wouldn't fix it, and to come to the point that it was probably fixed it with $100,000, it ended up in $400,000 and $500,000 in order to get it fixed, because you used to have to take the schools out of the kids out of the schools in order and for months in order to get them fixed. So I mean, they let it run down and then just go in. I mean, mold in schools and everything else, and they would not have them fixed. So, I mean, they had a government now who's doing all of this, and if you got a little extra coming up now next year, they'll have to cut back their spending a bit, cut back their budget, and hopefully that'll help everything management, because you know the $6 billion budget this year, it is $5 billion next year. I mean, you know, when new school does put up, you don't need that anymore.
I get it, but to quote Mr. Effort, Mr. Speaker, we didn't do nothing because we had nothing to do nothing with.
Yeah, we look at all the money they spend traveling. If you look at all the money they spend traveling around the world with their spouses and everything, and the money they wasted in mismanagement.
You couldn't put shingles on Banya Elementary with the money it costs to go around the world. I mean, that's pretty flimsy stuff.
My God, the money the millions they wasted, the millions of dollars they come up with in when they had the Auditor General in there, and they kicked them out because they didn't want any more, and they were mismanagement by putting.
You wouldn't take 20 buckets out from under leaks with that old travel kind of stuff. The same thing saying we gotta cut their wages. I mean, that doesn't save squat.
There was one alone was spend $40,000 just earn our spouse travel, looking and traveling on our taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah, the wives or the husbands don't need to be going. I guarantee you, I'm with you on that one. Wives and husbands, stay home out of it.
And then the expenses alone for one liquor there was for $1.5 million, and that can go on and on and on.
Yeah, liquor and listen, no one's supporting fellas buying ladies' drawers with their constituency. Yeah. We all know that. Tony, I got to go to the break.
All right, Paddy.
Talk to you next time.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.